George 97313. Send George a text message anytime at 818-298-6521. From the gateway to the west, this is Coast to Coast AM with George Noory.
This hour we'll take your calls with Paul Levy as we talk about his work on Dreaming with Tico. It's an amazing discovery and kind of scary, to tell you the truth. Internet scammers are constantly inventing new schemes to steal your identity. The experts warn that some of the most recent attempts include emails and pop-up screens that feature refunds or invoices, tech support or software updates, and lottery-themed AdWord campaigns. And these cyber criminals choose these techniques because they prey on emotional triggers such as urgency, fear, or regaining control. It's important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Your personal information gets exposed so often, making it dangerously easy for a cyber criminal to steal your identity. Protecting your identity can be easy with LifeLock by Norton. LifeLock detects and alerts you to potential identity threats that you may not spot on your own, like loans taken out in your name, crimes committed by thieves pretending to be you. And if you do become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But it's easy to help protect yourself with LifeLock. Identity theft protection starts here. Join now. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code George when you call 1-800-LifeLock or head on over to LifeLock.com and use promo code George for 25% off.
Hi, me again. I want to turn you on to a path to feel better, have more energy, and less sickness. It's a great website, criticalhealthnews.com. The audio lectures, videos, and articles about health will captivate you. You'll see. criticalhealthnews.com features content from world-class alternative health experts who make a lot of sense, and they'll earn your respect and admiration after you take their advice and try the recommended unique products designed to work in concert with your body to provide all the nutrition it needs. Log on to criticalhealthnews.com and take advantage of all the free health information available there. Remember, education is your best defense against sickness and misery. Get inspired by visiting criticalhealthnews.com, where you can purchase modular nutrition packs and see for yourself how good you can feel.
Call 1-855-949-RADIO or 1-855-949-7234. Welcome back to Coast. George Noory back with Paul Levy as we talk about his work on Dreaming with Tico. Paul, is it easy to spot someone who might be infected with Tico?
Well, yes and no. Because on the one hand, it can be obvious, but the thing about Tico, it works through the projective tendencies of the mind. And we're always projecting onto the waking inkblot, of the world. And so there are times we can, see, or think that person has Tico, when we're actually looking at a mirror and seeing our own reflection, and the one who has Tico is us. So it's not quite so simple.
It really isn't. And I guess it's not simple to get rid of either, is it?
Well, that's true. On one hand, it's not easy to get rid of, and yet to say it's not easy to get rid of is to put ourselves under a spell, where we've conjured up the universe that's going to give us all the evidence that will confirm our viewpoint that it's not easy to get rid of, So that's what I'm saying, that Tico, it's plugging into our own creative agency in a way, and one of the ways it does it is through language. We're continually conjuring up spells on ourselves and on others through our words. So it's really important to just be aware of this intrinsic creative power that we all have, and when we are, then it's easy to dispel Tico. Then it's effortless, because our nature is to be intrinsically free.
Does any of this have anything to do with karma?
Well, yeah, like I'm a Buddhist practitioner, and karma, the law of cause and effect, it has to do with what we're experiencing right now is our own doing, ultimately. And so the idea is that, because Tico has to do with you,
Police reported ahead. Approaching a railroad crossing.
rings places. Give me blue diamonds.
Sweet boy savory, satisfying.
Give me blue diamonds. Crunchy, tasty, sweet boy savory, always satisfying. Give me blue diamond almonds.
On an emotional level, feels very similar to my relationship with my mother in this lifetime. I used to question why in God's name, and I'm not being sacrilegious, I'm being serious, would I choose to be born as an empath and also to be born to a mother who would like to see me dead? And you basically answered this question for me tonight. Although my head's still spinning, I can't repeat it in just a few words. But I finally realized this recently, and I'm beginning to deal with myself with more compassion because I realized that she was a narcissist, which is a very expressive personality type. You've made mention of some things, but could you kind of sum up, can you speak to wresting oneself out of the clutches of a daimon or Waikiko when it's a parent?
Like how you did it.
Yeah, no, I wrote a 600-page book about my experience of having the father I did, because my father, he was a malignant narcissist, and that's a narcissist who, when anybody threatens their narcissism, they react sadistically and try to destroy them. And it's unbelievably difficult when you have a parent who's a narcissist or who's taken over by Watiko. And all that I can say is I'm living proof. It almost killed me. It almost drove me crazy. It destroyed my entire family. And yet, somehow, I don't know how, I have the wherewithal to transmute that energy, that dark energy, that evil energy, into creativity. And that's what's healed me. And I'm still a work in progress. And that's what's informed my whole body of work. And so in one sense, I have gratitude towards my father.
He gave it to you in a way that you probably would recommend that you didn't have to do, right?
Oh my God. I mean, it was the worst nightmare. I mean, there were these series of these traumas, of these unbelievable emotional abuse scenarios where he would become literally possessed by murderous rage. I'd be afraid I was going to be, murdered while having heart attacks, telling me I was killing him. The worst of the worst time, I woke up the next day with a fever for a year. And I had the fever for the entire year.
You had a fever for a year?
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with me. And at the end of that year, all of a sudden, that figure that had taken over my father had become internalized and was now inside of my psyche. And that's what happens with abuse. An external historical event that happens in your life becomes internalized. And that's when I knew I had a big problem. And what I decided to do was to go within and to really just assume the position of the witness to try to because thinking about it just made it worse. So I just began really observing what was happening moment by moment by moment. And after a couple of years of doing that, hours and hours every day, that's when I had my awakening.
Did you have other siblings?
No, I was the only child. I'm fortunate to be the recipient of my father just unrestrainedly acting out his abuse. My mother was there as the witness, and we were so close and had such love, and she disassociated. She just, the evil that was coming through him, because he was possessed. He was literally possessed.
Who did this to him when he was a kid?
I don't know, but I do know one thing, that his sister, he had one sibling, my aunt, one conversation, the only time I ever got any validation, she was talking to me. And all of a sudden she asked me if I knew who Hannibal Lecter was.
Oh my God.
And she goes, oh, that's the sort of person your father is.
Oh my God.
Before you were born, he did something so horrible and so terrible, but I will never tell you what it was, because it was so horrible and so terrible, and it killed our parents. And I think that's at the root of his problem.
Oh.
And that was the one.
Whatever it is, do you suspect what it might have been?
Oh, I know what it was. I had a dream, and in the dream.
Did you talk about it on the air here?
Yeah, I can talk about it on the. So I had this unbelievably crystal clear dream that he had raped his sister.
Oh.
And when I woke up from that dream, I knew. I was like, oh, that's exactly what happened. I don't have the slightest doubt. And there were all these data points. Everything just got into focus. And yeah, so what he was doing, he was unconsciously enacting the raping of sister, and I was the one he was closest with. So I felt like I was being psychically raped.
He needed help, severe help, didn't he?
Totally, but because I had my awakening and I got misdiagnosed as being bipolar, I became the identified patient, so he convinced the whole family that I was the sick one. That's the evil that I'm talking about that was playing out
Yeah,
in the
they're very manipulative.
Totally.
But, when he pounded, what was he when he died?
He was 84.
And did you even go to his funeral?
Yeah, I was there. I was at his funeral, and and thankfully, in my dreams, they've shown me again and again the incredible importance of cultivating compassion for my father. So as a Buddhist, in my dreams, I'll chant, and in my life, my waking life, Om Mani Padme Hum, the mantra of compassion. So often, I've just showered my father with love and compassion, because that's in essence what he really needs.
You understand forgiveness, Paul.
Well, I'm a beginner, but I think I'm going in the right direction.
It's not easy.
Yeah, but even to say it's not easy, that's to put a spell on ourselves, because it's the most it's way harder to not forgive.
We're with Paul Levy. We're going to take calls after the break. His book is called Undreaming Wetiko, which is originally from Native Americans. But as you said earlier, Paul, this is really in every culture, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's in every culture throughout time immemorial, and every spiritual tradition. They are actually pointing at Wetiko, just in different language.
Since you've been doing this, which has been how many years now?
Well, I've been almost 30 years that I've been in private practice and facilitating groups.
Your first book came out about 12 years ago, didn't it?
No, the first one was about the madness of George W. Bush, and that came out, I think, in 2004.
Interesting. Okay, how many books do you have out there?
I think I have 6.
Oh, that's a lot. And,
yeah, well, it's the way, it's the way that I've accessed my creative voice, and by doing that, I'm healing myself.